going to be making fruit salsa with cinnamon chips. First, I'm going to start with the cinnamon chips. What you need is tortillas, simple tortillas like you use to make tacos. I'm going to start by cutting them into eighths. When these are cut, I'm going to butter them, sprinkle them with a mixture of cinnamon and sugar, and then put them into the oven to bake so they get crispy. And now I'm going to lay them just nice onto this cookie sheet here, evenly. Now that the tortillas are all cut up and laid on the cookie sheet, I have the butter melted in this dish here, and I'm going to lightly butter each of them. Once they're all buttered, I'm going to take the cinnamon and sugar mixture and just sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon and sugar on each of the tortillas. Now that the tortillas are all covered with the butter and the cinnamon sugar mix, I'm going to put them into the oven to bake for about 8 to 10 minutes. Now on to the salsa. I'm going to start by dicing the kiwi. The kiwi is all sliced up now, and now I'm on to slicing up the apples. After the apples, I have the raspberries and the strawberries, and that will mix all the fruits together. I'm finishing cutting up the apples now, and as I put them into this bowl here, I'm going to add a little bit of lime juice just to preserve the color. So this was 2 apples here into this bowl now. And I'm going to add just a few drops of this lime juice and mix it up just to preserve the apples. Next is the raspberries, and they don't need to be cut up at all, so I'll just set them over here with the rest. And now I have the strawberries, which I'll dice up just as I did with the kiwi and the apples. Now that all the fruit is cut up, I'm going to add it all into a bowl. Here is the 2 apples sliced up. This is the bowl of 8 ounces of raspberries. This is the 2 kiwis sliced up. And finally, this is the 16 ounces of strawberries sliced up. Now that all the fruit is in here together, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar and brown sugar. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of white sugar and 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. So I'll add that in now. And I'll mix that up. And finally, the recipe also calls for a spoonful of fruit preserves, and it doesn't specify what flavor, so I chose strawberry. So I'll add a little bit of strawberry fruit preserve. And I'll mix that in. And that's all it is. The cinnamon crisps are now done baking and have cooled. And so now I'm going to add them into this container here. The fruit salsa and baked cinnamon chips is a great dish to bring along to a family gathering or summer event. In conclusion, this particular recipe for the fruit salsa calls for 2 kiwis, 2 golden apples, 8 ounces of raspberries, 16 ounces of strawberries, 2 tablespoons of white sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, and a spoonful of fruit preserves. For the baked cinnamon chips, it calls for 10 tortillas, melted butter, 1 cup of white sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. And once again, this is a great dish to bring to summer gatherings.